So good morning. Good morning all. We're just starting our session. Thank you so much for your patience while we just put ourselves into gear. So we'll just give it a moment. And of course, this is a demonstration by our friends here at Experian, and it will be in relation to the new version 4 of the Affordability Passport. So my name's Earl. I'm the Broker Support Desk Team Leader, and I hope I pronounce your name correctly. You'll have to help me actually if you can introduce yourself, because go ahead.
Yeah, this is Bhavna from Experian.
Thank you so much. Well done. Brilliant. So I'm going to pass the floor to you. We've got a couple of attendees that have arrived. If any do start to come through, then we'll let them in and then they can pick up on the session with you. But thank you for joining. And as mentioned, you're already members of TMA using Experian. So this will be a demonstration of how to use the new version of Affordability Passport version number 4. So I'll keep quiet and I'll pass it over to you. The floor is yours. I'll switch my camera off. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I keep, the name is quite different to this part of the world. I'm from India and it's a very common name over there. So I'm Bhavna. I'm the product lead for Affordability Passport version 4 at Experian. Quite new to this role, I'll be honest. So happy to be here to take you through what version 4 looks like, how it's different to the current version that you may be using, and any questions that you may have, happy to answer them. If I don't have the answers, I'll make sure I get back to you with those post this session. Thank you for joining. So I've got a couple of slides. Let me try and share. Could you confirm if you can see my screen? Don't think it's worked.
Not just yet.
Okay.
So do you have the share button at the bottom of the screen? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it may be something, I've clicked on that, but I think it may be something on the Experian side.
Okay.
Which is preventing me, but let me just quickly check my settings. Did that work?
We can't see no at the moment, no. So always the way with technology, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what happens when you work at a data company.
So just to confirm, when you click share screen, is it showing the window that you want to share?
It is,
And then you
yeah.
click that and it's just not sharing it. Okay.
Okay, I'll just try the Chrome. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can. Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, cool. That's the demo. That's not what I had intended to share, but it's not allowing me to share the PowerPoint. I'll make sure you've got these slides post the session. So yes, you can see the portal screen over there, but
yeah, see the login screen, yeah.
just a quick few words around what's exactly happening with version 3 and version 4. So some of you, if not all, are actively using version 3 of the product. And if you're not using it, you do have an account on version 3. I believe we've received interest to start using version 4 from all of you, and that's great, great to see. So what's happening is version 4 has been in the making for a while now. It's an enhanced version over version 3. I will make sure you've got the list of things that are new in version 4. But ultimately, we are looking to retire version 3 in the month of July. And the reason for this July deadline is because there are some consumer duty related FCA regulations that come into effect in July. And because version 4 has been in the making, what we've done is we've added those enhancements for, to comply with that regulation only in version 4, because the plan is always to have all of our clients using the most up-to-date version. And that's why all of our clients who have been on version 3 are being requested to move to version 4 before we sunset V3. As such, what's going to happen with this migration is that we will get you to test version 4 based on all of the features that you've expressed an interest in. We will move you to the test environment for version 4 so that you can have a play around, get familiarized with what version 4 looks like, how does it work. It does, the look and feel is different to version 3, and I'll show the demo for that in a bit. Once you're happy with the testing phase in the test environment, we move you to what's called live testing. That's a completely different environment, but the idea is to replicate what you've seen in the test environment. We call it CAT, client acceptance testing, for you to do the same with some real data in live before you start using version 4 with your customers. So with live testing, it will be yourselves using version 4 as if you're the customer. So if you asked for PEPs and sanctions, do a PEPs and sanctions check on yourself, do an ID doc verification journey, etc. We don't get to see the data, but you get to see what live data would look like and the fact that it actually works in version 4 for you. So once you're happy with live testing, that's when we move you to live, and that's when you can start using version 4 with all of your customers. In this period, as you're testing version 4, you will retain access to version 3. So you can keep using version 3. And the idea is for you to get comfortable with version 4 before we switch you off version 3. Ideally, all of this gets completed by 30th of June. So there's still a few weeks. And that's essentially the plan. Because I'm not sharing, or I'm not able to share the slide deck, I will do a very quick run through of the different services in version 4. We still have open banking, credit summary, PEPs and sanctions. It used to be called AML checks in version 3. It's called PEPs and sanctions in version 4, as well as we've got ID doc verification. So the features essentially are the same. We are planning to add new features into version 4 in the months to come. So something like work report, which is a new Experian product, where instead of you having to ask your customers to give you copies of their payslips, whether that's PDF or paper copies, it's a 30-second journey, online journey they can go through, where they just consent to Experian accessing their payroll data directly from source, and their payslips essentially in a digital form become available in the portal for you to review. So there's obviously increased reliability, there's less risk of fraud, and it's super quick. So customers don't have to spend time looking for their last 12 months worth of payslips, for example. And that will be new in version 4. That will not be offered in version 3. Within each feature, as I do the demo, I can highlight what's new or what's different. And the slides that will follow after this session capture everything that you may want to make yourselves aware of as to what's new. There are a few things we've taken away from version 4 that were offered in version 3, but that's based on our clients telling us, yeah, we are not using this. So, and for the portal clients, there isn't much of an impact in terms of things being taken away. The only one that's changed massively or significantly is AML checks to PEPs and sanctions. So we've moved to a different data provider for this data. It's an internal Experian service called Hunter, which now provides the data for PEPs and sanctions. And as such, there is a difference in the data that you will see returned for those BEPS and sanctions reports. The feedback from our clients was that something called adverse media, which you used to get in version 3, is not something clients were looking at. So we've taken that away in version 4. And there are a few identity related variables that you will not see in version 4. However, the fact that now it's an internal team who is working on this feature means that if there were things you did want from BEPS and sanctions or AML checks, it's much easier for us to influence and add that to our roadmap. And hopefully it will be a much quicker turnaround in terms of if majority of our clients said we do want that XYZ data point, then it should be easier for us to influence the roadmap of BEPS and sanctions. On the portal side, it is a redesigned portal. There are improved features. Hopefully, as you start to use it, you will find it more usable than the current one. We have made significant enhancements in terms of data return for open banking. So if you are taking that feature in version 4, I'll be going through that in just a bit. To add an extra layer of security, over and above you having to, so as you're logging in version 3, you're only having to add your username and password. And if you opted for it, then an additional level of security with memorable words, etc. In version 4, you will need your username, password, and either an extra level of authentication, which is via two-factor authentication, or if you've opted for IP whitelisting, then you need to provide us with the list of IPs that should be allowed for access to the portal. All of this will be discussed with you at the time of setting up your new account. There are user guides, which unfortunately seems like I won't be able to take you through in the session, but we will provide user guides as to how do you set up your account in the first instance, how does the authenticator link, what authenticators are allowed, etc., etc. So you will have those with screenshots shared with you as well. Right, so quickly to take you through the demo, this is basically what the portal looks like in version 4. I don't have the journey in Chrome where it will show you how to set it up in the first instance, but I've got screenshots in a PowerPoint which I will share with you. So this is assuming you are using two-factor authentication and say you've got a Microsoft or a Google authenticator which you've already linked with your portal account. You will sign in, use the code, look at the code on the authenticator app on your mobile device, enter that 6-digit code, and then once you verify, this is what you will see. So this is sort of new, or at least redesigned in version 4. In version 3, if you had we had the multiple department functionality in version 3 as well, but not many of our clients were taking it. So it may be that you weren't using it in version 3. But what this feature allows you to do in version 4 is, if you've opted for ID doc verification, that feature will sit in a separate department. And all of the other features, so open banking, credit summary, and BEPS and sanctions, will sit in a separate department. So in this instance, for a broker called YB Broker, interestingly, your bank broker, for ID doc, they will access that feature via the YB Broker's ID doc department. And if they've, say, opted for open banking and BEPS and sanctions and credit summary, they will go to this main department, which is where all of those features will sit. In version 3, if you were taking multiple departments, you would have had to log out and then log back in, or have just different credentials to access the different features. Whereas in version 4, just a second, in version 4, you don't have to log out every time you want to switch departments. So you can stay logged in. And so say if you logged in the first instance to the main department, this button to switch department will always appear in the header throughout all of the screens on the portal. So again, if you wanted to switch department, you just go to that button, select from the drop-down, and then you will see that other department with ID doc verification. So you don't have to log out each time. This is what the homepage looks like in version 4. I will come to this part in a minute, but there are essentially two parts of the portal, or two different views of the portal. One is the customers list. So this is individuals. So if I had come to you for a mortgage application, you would create my record as Bhavna Gulati with some basic details about me. And then once you save my details, I will start appearing in the customers list. Then there's something called applications. Applications is what you do with the customer once you've saved their record. So for any features which entail a customer journey, so that's open banking, ID doc verification, or for credit summary, if you've taken the one where you're using Experience customer journey, then you will be able to see those as applications in the applications tab. And this shows you the status where a customer is in the journey that the invite for which you had sent to them. So Nicola, for example, if you had sent her an open banking journey to complete and she's completed it, that's 100%. If you click on this, it will take you to the open banking data returned in the portal. ID doc as well will appear here, and credit summary as well for passport journeys. We call it passport journeys. That's the Experian customer journey for affordability passport. All of those will appear here as well. So you can just click through and access the data that has been returned for a completed journey. But you can also, within each tab, just, it's sort of like a filter. If you wanted to see all of your customers who've not even started it, you can send them reminders by going here, and then you have the functionality within there to send a reminder if someone's not started the journey or if they've not completed it. For anything you want to do with the portal, this first step is for you to create the customer record. So you can do that from the home page or within the customers list. There is the functionality to add your customer. Here you will see a summarized view of this. So all of your applications appear on the homepage as in a dashboard high-level view. If you're not taking features which entail a customer journey, so if you're taking only PEPs and sanctions or credit summary without Experience front end, this will always be blank because there are no applications that you need to send to your customers for those features. So that will always be blank, and this tab will always be blank in that scenario. So let's start with how do we create a customer in the portal. So like I said, you either click here or on the button in the customers list. This is the basic details about the customer you need to save. So their first name, last name, date of birth, email address. And then depending on what features you have asked for in the portal, the address or the number of addresses you need to provide could be different. So for PEPs and sanctions, you only need to provide the current address and their move-in date into that address. However, if you have also asked for credit summary data can only be pulled if you provide either their last 3 years worth of address history or the last 3 addresses. So one of those conditions need to be met, and as well as their move-in date and year. So in this scenario, for the demo purposes, I've assumed that this is a client who's asked for all features, open banking, credit summary, and PEPs and sanctions. So in this case, they will need to provide last 3 years worth of address history. You can enter addresses manually, or you can just use the postcode lookup, like I'm sure you've seen in many other places. So that's what it would look like. You would provide the month they moved in and the year. And as long as these 3 addresses, either it's 3 addresses, or if it's 2 addresses, then those 2 addresses need to have stretched for the last 3 years, and then you can just save the customer. So that's you saving a customer's record. And it's only after you've done this step 1 can you pull their PEPs and sanctions data or credit summary data or send them invites to complete open banking and ID doc journeys. So for PEPs and sanctions, there is no customer journey involved in that. So all you need to do is create the customer record. You will see this option for PEPs and sanctions here. And as a default, there is no report, but you simply run a PEPs and sanctions check, and then it will pull that data with the latest details and then populate in the portal. Sometimes it can take more than a few minutes. in which case, once you come back to the portal, the data will be available and you will receive an email if you opted for it to notify you that this data is available. So the PEPs and sanctions report in V4 looks like this. You can see their personal details, address, and then you can see all of the results from the PEPs and sanctions check. There are a few different scenarios. So for a happy path, everything would be green. They are not a politically exposed person. They are not a sanctioned individual. Their KYC is all positive. So all of it will be green. Where the data is not matched, or if they are a sanctioned individual, for example, for an unhappy path scenario, this will highlight not matched instead of clear, or there is a match instead of it being clear, and it will say individual has been matched against the UK PEPs list. It doesn't go into any further detail as to which list it is, but this is an indication for you to say, okay, this may be a politically exposed person, or in that case, if it's a match, then they are a PEP. KYC, again, there is a reduction in the variables that are returned in V4. And like I said, it was based on our clients telling us we only use these 5-6 data points and we don't care much for the rest of them. So like I said, if there are things that you are interested in on this front and you don't see that in version 4, please do feed that back, and then we can take it into our roadmap discussions for sure. This will tell you when you had done the last PEPs and sanctions check, and you can always run multiple ones. You can also download this report as a PDF. So if you click on this is a download functionality, if you click on that, it will basically come up as a PDF, which is Experian branded, but it's the exact same data that you see in the portal. So it's just to make it easier for you to store this information on your side if you wanted to do that. If you're doing multiple PEPs and sanctions checks in the same month, then only the latest one for that month will be available for download. But if you've done one in Jan and then another one in Feb, then both of these will be available for downloading. That's the PEPs and sanctions feature for version 4. We then have credit summary. So credit summary, there are two ways of using this, and it depends on what you opt for at the time of setting up your account. If it's a standalone, which is where you have your own ways of capturing your customer's consent for you to run this credit summary check, there is no Experian journey that you're using, then all you need to do is save your customer's details, come to the credit summary tab, and then run credit search. Make sure if you're taking consent from your customers outside of Experian, if there's an FCA audit, then you may be asked to prove that yes, consent was captured. So there are different ways of doing that. You could store the emails. If it's verbal, then, I mean, basically you need to have your own mechanisms to prove that consent was taken before you did this credit check on that customer. So assuming consent is all there, you just run the credit search in the portal, and then the data will start appearing in the portal like this. You can dig deep into all of these tabs. So their personal information, key information around payments. So default payments, this is all dummy data, so just please ignore these numbers. But it will show you any previous credit searches done on them and a summary of their financials. So how many credit cards, current accounts, mortgages, etc. You can see that here. Public record information around CCJs, debt relief orders, etc. Is all available here. And then some lower level detail around their active accounts and balances. So these, this one, this is for their credit card, for example. You can see the very low level detail about their credit card and their balances. And the status of this, it's hard to show it in this design demo, but these numbers, once you hover on this, will show up exactly what it means. So a red means there is a cause for concern, and if you hover over it, it will tell you why this is a red or why something is a tick or what does U stand for. So every time you hover, you'll be able to see that. Details around any searches made on this customer, and then the further detail around public information, CCJs, etc. Again, you can download their credit summary using the download option, and the same rule applies that if you do multiple pulls in a month, then it's the latest one that appears. Although credit report data doesn't change within the month, it usually changes every month or so. But it's always the latest one in a particular month that will be available for download. And for data pulls done across different months, you can use the drop down to select which month you wanted to download the data for. So that's where these are the two features where you don't need your customers to go through any Experian front-end journey. For PEPs and sanctions, there is no requirement for explicit consent, but for credit summary, you do need to capture consent in a way that can be proved should there be an audit, because you should not be pulling credit summary data on somebody if you don't have their explicit consent. Then credit summary, the other way of using that is by using Experian's front-end journey, which is you save your customers' details. You then send them an application for them to complete. So you can create a new application against this customer. If credit summary is the only feature you've opted for, so if this is without open banking, the customer will only go through a very short credit summary consent journey. But if you had opted for open banking as well as credit summary, then it's a linear journey. So they'll have to go through the open banking journey first, then go through the credit summary journey. There is no way for them to skip the open banking screens and only go to the credit summary part. So when you're setting up your account, bear that in mind, that if you opt for open banking as well as credit summary with Experian's passport journey, it's a longer journey for your customer, and they cannot skip the open banking part if they only wanted to give consent for credit summary. So let's assume here you're just sending the invite for credit summary. You create a new application. You have the option to just set a reference, just if you're matching it with other things for this customer on your side, you can just add that here and then send them the invite. That will start to appear here, and then you can track progress as to where is the customer in that journey by going into the application, either from the customers tab or just go into the applications view, search for the customer, and then you can see where they are with it. So for credit summary, once you send the invite to the customer, this is what it looks like on your customer side. They'll receive an email saying YB Brokers has asked you to complete affordability passport. Once they click on that button in the email, they will end up on this page. It's a very short journey. So if they click on get started, it's a very short consent page, which basically tells them YB Brokers has requested your credit report as part of offering you a product or service you've requested from them. They can choose to continue, give their consent, or decline. And whatever they choose will get recorded in the portal. If they declined to proceed, that gets recorded in the portal, and you will be able to see on your side that this customer has chosen to not proceed. So let's assume happy path, they are happy to give the consent. The moment they click on I agree, continue, the report becomes available in the portal for you to review. As part of this journey, the customer also has the option to view the credit report that has been shared with you. If they don't want to, they can simply click on skip, and that's the end of the journey. But if they did want to view their own credit summary data, as an extra layer of authentication, they need to answer a couple of questions. And these are usually what we call IIQ questions, but essentially, when did you get your first credit card? When did you open your account with XYZ Bank, etc. So something about their financial history that they need to answer correctly before they can see the credit report on their side. This is the exact same information you will see in the portal as well, and they have the option to download that as well. So that's the Experian passport journey for your customers if you opted for that in the credit summary section. And once, like I said, once they complete that, that data becomes available in the credit summary tab. Here, you don't have to click on the red credit search, run credit, it just appears here as the report. That's credit summary as well as PEPs and sanctions. I can move on to open banking quickly and then take you through what the ID doc verification feature and the journey looks like. So again, for open banking, because it entails a customer journey, you will first need to create a new application and send them the invite. Once you've done that, again, if it's only open banking, that's the only journey they go through. But like I said, if it's open banking and credit summary passport journey, it will trigger a longer journey. You don't get to choose that for this customer, only send the open banking invite or only send the credit summary invite if you've opted for both of those features. So the open banking journey, the moment you send the invite, again, they will receive an email saying YB brokers have asked you to go to complete the affordability passport. When they click on that, this is the landing page. It's a 5-step journey. Because you've sent them an email, they will not need to provide those personal details again. They will simply be able to see what you've provided, review it, and proceed. So that page will look different. It's not them entering the data, but it's them reviewing the data. They then need to provide their consent for the open banking data to be pulled and shared with YB brokers, and it specifies details of exactly what's happening with this journey. If they are happy, they will click on agree, and we have the whole list of banks who we have on our panel, and that's over 95% of the banks in the UK. So they can go to the bank of where they want to connect the account of, or just search for it. So let's assume this customer has a NatWest account. When they click on NatWest, if they have the NatWest app, they are directed to the app. They will log in into NatWest app and then be able to select which accounts they want to share with YB brokers via open banking. If they didn't have the app, then it takes them to the NatWest website, and via internet banking, net banking, they can just log in and then share that. So in this case, they have just the one account they want to share with NatWest. The account is connected in a matter of seconds. If they wanted to also connect other accounts, they can just add other account, but let's assume it's just the one account they want to connect. They share your transactions, and the last 12 months worth of transactions get pulled, and they are run through Experian's categorization engine, and that's the summary of their bank transactions. They have the option to download all of this as a PDF, but this is the exact same data that you get to see in the portal as well. That's the end of the journey for them, and I'll get into the portal view for open banking. So for open banking, because it entails a front-end journey, you can go to the application for this customer, and all of this has been derived from this person's NatWest bank account. So it's a very high-level view to begin with about their overall affordability, balance, and behavioral insights, and some income KPIs. So what's their average monthly income? How many income work streams have we detected? You can go into the detail for each of them. That's the next level view. So for their affordability, balance, income, and behavioral insights. So gambling, payday loans, etc., credit card payments are all behavioral insights. You can also see averages, and these are the different categories that our categorization engine. These are FCA categories, so this is what their financial summary looks like over the last 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. Key categories, again, this is all dummy data, But if you were interested in, I want to see basically regular income and their committed expenditure at in this view, you have the option to select that if you wanted to go for open banking. If you don't, then this is just the default categories that will show up here. And again, you can go into the detail of their expenditure against all of these categories. So that's the high level summarized view or insights based on their transactions. Affordability passport is what gets shared with the customer at the end of the journey. So what were the averages of money coming in and going out, disposable income and salary, and then all of the detail under this tabs around the different categories of income expenditure. But if you only wanted to look at, just give me what does their bank statement look like for NatWest or for Lloyds, you can just go to accounts. You can see all of the transactions, all of the bank accounts they've connected. So let's say Lloyds was one of them. You can see the transactions as well. So this is as good as a bank statement that you would get from them otherwise. Under the more drop down is something called application events, and this will exist for open banking, for ID doc verification, as well as for credit summary with the passport journey. But you can see exactly where your customer is in this front end journey. So you can see when you sent them the invite, when did this person click on the button in the email, did they provide consent or not, what happened till they reach the end of the journey. As well as every time you download something from the portal, that gets recorded as an event on this page. That is open banking at a very high level. I'm more than happy to do a deep dive into open banking if that's something you were interested in. Just conscious of time, we've got ID doc verification as well. Just very quickly, joint applications is something you may choose to opt for. If you do, this button will appear in your portal view. If you don't, you will not see this button. If the button is there, you don't have to use it. But if, say, two applicants came to you for a joint mortgage application and you wanted to record that in the portal, you can simply create a new joint application. You will have to create those customer records individually, but once you create a joint application, you can select which customers are part of that application. And then for both of these in this example, you just create new applications, and this will trigger invites for open banking or for ID doc verification to both of these customers. And then they will start appearing as in the applications view as a joint application. You will still see their data returned individually in individual sections, but it's only in this view where it will show you these two are joint applicants for a credit product. Right, so let's quickly then go through the ID doc journey. So if you wanted to send an ID doc verification invite, you can just switch department, go to the ID doc department. And again, we're assuming, sorry, you wouldn't have to log in, but you will end up on this page for ID doc in the other department. So again, you just create a customer first, save their details, and then send them the invite for just the ID doc journey. The reason we've separated this is that feedback we received from our clients was generally they were either just doing the affordability checks on their customers, or if the customer was brand new to them, unknown to them, that's when they were using ID doc verification. So ID doc verification being used in combination with open banking or credit summary was a rare event. And that's why we've separated it from that department, which means you can run independent ID doc checks without it leading to a very long journey where there's open banking and ID doc and credit summary. So that's the reason we've separated this in version 4 for you. I don't have a demo for what the ID doc verification customer journey looks like. It's all in a PowerPoint, which I will send to you. But if you've been using that in version 3, there is no change through the customer side of things, except on FIDO, who are the data partner for ID doc verification. They've mandated that. So with the ID doc customer journey, what happens is you will send the invite. I get an email. Again, I click on the button And as part of that journey, I need to provide my consent for you to do an ID doc check on me. Take a selfie, take a photo of my identity document. So that's either my passport or driver's license, or it's there from a list of allowed IDs. In version 3, the customers had the option to upload those photos of identity documents from their laptops or their phones. In version 4, however, they will have to have that document physically with them because they can only take photos, they cannot upload. And that is to again prevent fraud or someone else accessing my ID documents and going through these journeys. That's something that on Fido, our data partner, have mandated. So we've got no control on that, but that's the only change in the customer journey from version 3. So as part of that journey, I, as your customer, will provide my consent. I'll take a selfie. I'll take a photo of the front and back of my driver's license, submit those. Once I do that, I complete the journey. That's when that data gets sent over to Fido and they share the authentication or verification report of that document in this format. So again, my personal information, what's the overall result of the verification? If there was a discrepancy spotted somewhere, then it comes back as a failed identity check. Sometimes it may be a refer, but a failed would mean something was detected as a mismatch or a fraud was detected, etc. And therefore, on Fido was unable to verify the authenticity of that person's identity. Then based on the selfie and my photo in my license, this is the facial similarity report. Again, it tells you exactly where on Fido was unable to confirm there was a match. The document, so my driver's license, what's the report on that? Were they able to verify the authenticity of that? And what you can get in version 4 is you are able to download the images that I had uploaded as well. Front side and back side would appear for the driver's license. You can download them from the portal. And again, you can download these reports using this download option at the top. Right. I have been talking for a long time. Any questions that may have come up? Or if not, I can again quickly run through the next steps in terms of this migration.
No questions so far, no, but I think that you've done a very comprehensive run through the system there. So thank you so much. If there was something more that you wanted to show, I think we've got a little bit more time, or if you wanted to save that, then that's also fine. But this is
Just to,
so go ahead.
So I just wanted to give a view of exactly when to expect this, for you to expect the migration to begin. So we are looking at next week to start with a batch of firms that have come to us via TMA. We will not be able to cover every single one of them in the same week, but we will be starting with some firms, prioritizing those who have been using version 3 actively.
Yes.
So you will receive an email from our affordability passport onboarding team. Email will say that you've been asked to set up an account, so you can just click through that and set up your account, starting with the UAT, followed by live testing, etc. So we are looking at early next week to start onboarding some of you, if not all, into version 4 for testing. But we plan to cover every single firm who is interested in version 4 in the weeks to come. So just please keep a lookout on your email. You will have 2 weeks up to 2 weeks to do the whole testing in the test environment, the UAT, followed by 1 week where you can do some live testing. And so we are looking at 2 to 3 weeks essentially before you go live on version 4 and are able to start using it with your customers.
Brilliant. And any who couldn't attend this morning will have access to, if agreeable to you, the recording that we've done today. And there's also another session taking place next week on the 16th as well. So we'll have an opportunity to tell some more of our members exactly what you've done to improve the system and how to operate it. But thank you. That was as mentioned earlier, very comprehensive and quite thorough. So we thank you for doing that. And especially with the slight technical problem, I didn't notice any of that
Yeah.
when you were going through it. So that was brilliant. So
Thank you. It's a shame I couldn't pull those up, but I'll make sure they are available to TMA, and then if you could share them with the firms as well.
absolutely. So if no one has any questions, then all is left to do is to say thanks again, and we look forward to working with you on this new version of the Affordability Passport. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
See you later.